Alright, y'all, I had this idea. They probably already do this, but I was thinking, because we're going to be talking about the Memphis Grizzlies today. If you're at, I believe it's the FedEx Forum, or FedEx Arena, or whatever. I think that's where Memphis plays. If you get called for a traveling violation, which doesn't happen very often in these National Basketball Association games, they should play, Walking in Memphis, by Mark Cohn, because I feel like they got to do that. I haven't had the privilege to go to a Memphis Grizzlies game, but if you have, let me know if they've, maybe it's too corny to play that song, but anyway, that aside, we start talking on the court stuff, or at least front office stuff. The Memphis Grizzlies have been one of the most active teams this offseason in terms of trades, and they had the big kind of, it's probably not a blockbuster, but kind of out of nowhere, they get Steven Adams, the 10th pick, Eric Bledsoe, for Jonás Valanciunas. There might be some other picks in there, but that's kind of the gist. And my take, we talked about the Pelicans earlier, as we go more center there. We talked about the Pelicans. I think Jonás Valanciunas is, great fit. Steven Adams is probably a downgrade in that, he can do, like Jonás Valanciunas can do everything Steven Adams can do, plus shoot the ball a little bit and spread the floor a little bit. So Memphis, it's a bit of a downgrade. I get he fits the profile. I mean, the Grizzlies have, probably my entire life have done the grit and grind thing. I grew up watching Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol, Rudy Gay, O.J. Mayo, briefly in there. One of the worst food combinations, but cool basketball player names of all time. And, Steven Adams fits the profile perfectly. Then they flip Eric Bledsoe for Pat Bev Rondo, then flip Bev for Jarrett Culver and Juancho Hernan Gomez. It's kind of like in NBA, in like 2K, when you're just freaking on that trade finder and you're like, man, I got to shuffle up this a bit. Like, I don't want Patrick Beverley. I don't want to play with Patrick Beverley. Man, already twice today. Fuck. Are we still on? Oh, we're still on. Thank God. I don't want to edit this. Hopefully we can make it through this turn. I want to talk about Pat Bev playing as Pat Beverley in 2K, because no, I don't think anyone really wants to do that. So you see like, what can I get for Pat Bev? And then the Timberwolves offer you like Jarrett Culver and Juancho, and you're like, yeah, fuck it. Like Jarrett Culver's could be good, maybe. And Juancho, solid, backup center, big man type. We'll take it. And so that's what the Grizzlies are looking at. And they've really done everything right in terms of the draft, John Morant being their top pick, going second. And then you have, some of the later guys, Desmond Bane contributed immediately. Xavier Tillman, like a second round guys, contributed. And then just some of the other moves to get brought in, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, all of them playing well. Young core, Brandon Clark, another guy. Like the whole roster, very solid, 1 through 10. And then they brought in Sam Merrill. Had to get, I think probably because of depth, they got rid of Grayson Allen. Like they don't need him. And so that's kind of indicative because I like this Grizzlies team is, I like it a lot. It makes a lot of sense, the fit. They got like an identity, which I think is really important in the NBA for everyone to kind of get on the same page, the same kind of players, skill set. And this is a defensively minded team. Golly, we're going the other way now. Jeez. I'm trying to talk about the Grizzlies. My phone doesn't want to doesn't want to cooperate. So here's the thing with Memphis now. Because they have the young core. Does it develop into a championship contending team as is? I would say no. I have to mention they also have Tyus Jones and DeAnthony Melton, two very solid guards. So what I'm leading to as I'm listing all of these names is that the Grizzlies have a ton of capital, ton of assets, that they could really push for like an all-star caliber player to pair with John Morant. I haven't even talked about Jaren Jackson at all, and because he was out last year, makes it a little more difficult to judge kind of where he's going to be at the start of this upcoming season. But if he returns to form, of Jaren Jackson of the past, he's almost like 50, 40, 75, something like that. Like, he can shoot the ball, and he's a big man, great power forward. And they have a big decision to make regarding him. He's in his last year of his deal. Do they extend him? Could you trade him? And so, as I said, with all these assets, who's the kind of big fish you could throw? And they have all their picks, by the way. And they have to determine, whether it's worth it to make that leap or not. And if it's this season, if it's this off season, if it's, at the trade deadline or next, free agency period. Because here's the thing with the NBA, is it's all about consolidating talent. Like, if your 10th guy is better than every other team's 10th guy, that pretty much means nothing. Injuries aside, because injuries, everyone, if you can have a guy that can fill in, do, a decent job, that can be huge in the regular season, getting wins and getting a good seed for the playoffs, etc. But once you hit the playoffs, man, like, your bench gets so much shorter, and you just need like 7 really good guys. And Memphis has 7 really good guys, but their top 3 really is where it matters where it matters most in the playoffs. And I guess their top 3 is like Ja, Jaren, and Dillon Brooks. But like, if Dillon Brooks is your 3rd best player, I don't see you making any deep playoff runs. No offense to him, he's great on defense. Shoots the ball a lot. He's got a lot of confidence. So I got nothing against Dillon Brooks, but here's the thing. Zach LaVine is available, per se. At least Chicago hasn't committed to paying him yet, which already means, like, they're not all in on Zach LaVine. Pascal Siakam's been made available. Now, I'm not saying that either of those guys is going to put Memphis over the edge and suddenly they're, going to win it. They're going to, like, three-peat or something. But they can make a lot of packages. They have a lot of flexibility. They just brought in Rajon Rondo, who's like $8 million that you could pad to, match salaries. And so what you're looking at, I could see Jaren Jackson could fit with Chicago. They need a power forward. You throw in Kyle Anderson's like on an expiring. And you're looking at, maybe a pick or two, and you have Zach LaVine. And you have a backcourt with John Morant and Zach LaVine, both under like 27, super athletic. If John Morant, if he improves his shooting too, he was like 30% from 3 last year. That is a lethal backcourt. And you pair that with Steven Adams, interior defense, and Dillon Brooks, perimeter defense, Brandon Clark's hustle, Desmond Bane. And you could, if you had to, you could throw one of those guys in there, like $2 million. And we don't know, like Zaire Williams, they drafted 10th. Some people think that was a bit of a reach. We'll have to see how he fits in. But it's like they have so many guys. Like, we need to consolidate. Like, if you can get your 5th best and your 6th best for some team's 4th best, like, that could be a legitimate deal. And I think I would look for them to be active mid-season when we kind of figure out who are the buyer and sellers, because they should be buyers, and they have the opportunity to sell for a really big star who's either unhappy or like doesn't fit a team's timeline. Bradley Beal comes available. If Damian Lillard, weird fit probably with Ja, but maybe you could make it work. I'd have to think they got to be in the market, unless Ja becomes like 25 and 10 and like Jaren Jackson's like 20. Like, it's hard to imagine a world where Memphis takes this team and develops, because really they don't have the Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton really that the Suns have, and they obviously don't have the Chris Paul. So I have to think this Memphis team's got to make a move, and I think they should. I think as much as like they've done the hard part in drafting good players, like that's like half the battle, and those picks can be so tantalizing because you imagine you drafted the right guys, and they have, and it's like, I get you're trying to build something, but this is just going to be a hold the phone kind of day. You're trying to build something, but if you realistically want championship aspirations, if you seriously, you have to, whoever the GM of Memphis is, I don't know who it is, GM Memphis, man, he has to wake up every day and look at his roster and realize that it's good. He's done a very good job with the picks he's had. I think, the trades have made sense so far, generally speaking. And so I have no problem with Mr. GM Memphis, man. But this is going to come the time where it's like their ceiling right now is probably the same ceiling as the aforementioned Grizzlies team with Conley, Randolph, Gasol, Rudy Gay. Like, they didn't make a finals. They were competitive. They would kill you on defense. They beat you up, but at the end of the day, just not enough offensive firepower to really compete with, the Lakers and the Spurs of that time, the Mavericks. They're kind of destined for that if they don't use the assets they have, catch a big fish. You have to be aggressive, and I like where they've come from so far. They're smart moves, very smart, but they're gonna have to do something bold at some point. It can't just be oh, this works out for both teams. We got a second round pick. We'll probably get some guy that actually is more value than normal, and that can only last for so long because freaking James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving are on the same team. Jonás is out there, and like we've said, the West in general, that's the East. In the West, all the teams got better, the Warriors are already going to be contenders. Lakers are going to come back if they stay healthy. Clippers, there's too many, to compete. Memphis got to do something. So if you're a Grizzlies fan, let me know if you agree. I feel like you got to be happy where you are right now, and this is an exciting team. I would love to watch this team as is, but I think if we're being honest, they got to make a big move. So take care of yourselves. Take it easy. Sorry the phone didn't cooperate today. It's a work in progress. So we'll see you next time. And I say take care of yourselves, please. For the love of God, just take care of yourselves. Take it easy. We'll see you next time.